Welcome back to another action figure obsession video here on the Avian and Loaded channel. I am your old pal, Avian and Loaded. Slightly loaded up on caffeine this morning, feeling a little bird-brained, and here we are with another look at some of the little plastic people in my world. Strictly coincidence that I was discussing the dark triad of psychology with a friend of mine in email this morning, and referred to people that have the dark triad as literally being demonic. It's like they're possessed. Uh, Therapist Katie Morton, Katimorton, here on YouTube, has a very good video about the dark triad of personality disorders, narcissism, and Machiavellianism, and sociopathy or psychopathy. Take your pick. Look into the dark triad. It's very interesting. If you have anybody that's in your life who seems kind of like a demon, that might explain it, because you're just an NPC in their world. Your needs do not matter. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, except right in front of us. I imagine at least a couple of these Marvel Legends characters have the dark triad. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say Dracula and his real life inspiration, Vlad Tepes, and Lilith over there on the right. So these are, I think, I'm looking around here on the work table in case I missed anybody in my sweep through my displays. I think these are all my demonic characters, I think, or demonic or supernatural, other than Doctor Strange. I suppose Brother Voodoo is kind of in the Doctor Strange good guy category, but he kind of leans into the kind of scary look of it, and the scary affect more than Doctor Strange with his superhero costume. So I did not grab Doctor Strange. Plus he's kind of locked into my Defenders display. I'd have to take a lot of stuff out to get Doctor Strange out, but I think for the hardcore supernatural beings of my collection, minus Doctor Strange, Baron Mordo too. He's got to be right here somewhere. Did I put him away somewhere? Maybe I did. I don't see Baron Mordo right here. I'm sorry, Master Mordo. Um, hmm. He was on the work table, but I think I may have put him away somewhere. All right, so I missed Master Mordo and Doctor Strange, but maybe they're on an adventure together since they're pals. So the supernatural is not a great area of interest to me. As we've discussed in the past, I really don't like Halloween, for example. I've seen The Exorcist, and I suppose it's a good movie for what it is. I'm not really even a fan of horror movies per se. There's some sort of horror crossover movies that I like Alien, but usually there has to be some other genre or gimmick involved for me to really get excited about it. Horror and the supernatural just don't hold a lot of appeal for me, but most of these characters have held appeal for me in one way or another, and that's why I have them. The only exception would be Lilith here. The only appeal that she had is I believe that she came with a Build-A-Figure piece that I needed. But I so fell in love with her design, the tampography of her fishnet parts of her costume, the cleanliness of it, the silver boots. The shape of her head is really weird. I don't really understand what it's supposed to be. I think the black triangle there at the top, I think that's supposed to be her hair. And then her head is got these pointy things, kind of like Iron Man's pointy face armor. I don't know biologically how that would work, but of course she's a demon. There are two Liliths, because I looked her up when I got this figure. She also kind of reminds me of a Steve Ditko design, which is another reason why I kept her. There are two Liliths in Marvel mythology, Marvel Comics mythology. One is the mother of Dracula, and this is not the Tomb of Dracula, although I think it's supposed to be the same character, but just a modern version that I think largely appeared in X-Men comics. So the mother of Dracula is one of the two Liliths in Marvel mythology, and the other one is, I think, like the mother of all demons, kind of a thing. Which maybe is why she and Son of Satan here seem to be getting along so famously. Maybe he's got a little mom thing going on. I don't know. This is whatever the opposite of a MILF is, though, because I think she's mad, bad, and dangerous to know. I think she came out of that Strange Tales wave that Blackheart, I think, was the Build-A-Figure for. Just going by my memory of that. I do have, oh, maybe I should have grabbed Blackheart, too. I think, isn't he the son of Mephisto? Well, he's on a stand and he's in the back of my Marvel vs. Capcom display, so that would have been a big pain in the ass too, folks. This episode of Action Figure Obsession is brought to you by lame ass excuses and a bad memory. Yeah, so we're missing Doctor Strange, Master Mordo, and Blackheart so far. Okay, this is Damon Hellstrom. Sometimes misnamed or misnomered, I was going to say. Misnamed Damien Hellstrom. It's not. It's Damon, Daimon. Kind of a variation of the antiquated spelling of demon, Daemon. Not a coincidence. I think he too was in that Strange Tales wave, if I recall correctly. And maybe actually all four of these, I think, may have been in the same, 5 of these. Holy shit. I think maybe most of these were the Strange Tales wave. Now that I think about it, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Damon Hellstrom here, the Son of Satan. His comic book in the 70s was actually called Son of Satan. Kind of amazing that made it to print, but that was the name of his comic, and he is on the Sunfire body mold with the tiny little shoulders. He does have a pentagram on his chest. Kudos to Hasbro for having the guts to do that. And his trident is rather disappointing. It is just swirly twirly gold plastic. A little bit of paint would have really made that baby sing. But they crapped that one out. It's sturdy and it's not bent. I'll give them that. And I guess it looks okay. And I guess you can tell yourself it's solid gold. But a little paint would have made it look like it's solid gold. And that would have been nice. The first one here. Only appropriate, right, that we're going right to left when we're looking at a bunch of supernatural people. Kind of vaguely unsettling. This is the first one here that I wanted that I didn't just get for a Build-A-Figure piece or because I felt like spending money that day. This is Blade, the Vampire Hunter, the Daywalker. It's a big improvement over the Blade that came in the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave, the Netflix wave from like 2015 that had the Bullseye and Charlie Cox Daredevil and Elektra and who else? The first John Bernthal Punisher. This guy needed some work, and I did the work. His arms would not go down to his sides, and you can see they still don't completely, but it was much worse than this. I heated him up, I took off the coat, and I applied some heat to the sort of underarm joints, and I was able to get the arms so they didn't stick out quite as much, and I've tried to pose them in a way that it kind of looks natural. I didn't like, and I almost never like it when they have gloved hands that go right to a bare flesh wrist. That always looks like crap. See, for example, the 2-pack with Havoc and Polaris in their 90s X-Force costumes. Havoc's wrists and forearms looked insanely ridiculous. And I forget who I took the little wrist bracers from somebody and put them on Havoc. And it improved him immensely. Blade here is sporting the wrist bracers from an X-Force, the gray X-Force Deadpool, the Uncanny X-Force Deadpool. And basically it just gives you the look like maybe it's gloves and they're rolled down a little bit and folded up. And it looks a lot better than just the bare wrist going into the gloved hand because it doesn't look right. It doesn't look natural. But this way, I think it really adds a lot of visual appeal and it makes the figure look a lot better. The head sculpt for this is much better than that one for that Netflix one 11 or so years ago. Just really looks much better. And the most striking thing visually is the red lining on the duster. Holy smokes, does that ever look good, folks? I mean, come on. That looks amazing, right? I actually bought 2 of these so I could give this duster with the red lining to one of my Snake Eyes figures to turn his commando outfit into having a trench coat with a red lining, and that because that complements the red Arashikage tattoo that he has or symbol that he has on that armor. So that is why I also have a blade with no jacket, and I go back. Excuse me, I go back and forth on whether this looks okay the way that it is. I feel like the sleeves of the shirt kind of give you the impression that he has a shirt underneath a bulletproof vest. What do you think? Do you think this works? Oh, you can also see what I was talking about with the wrists. So which do you think looks better? Just the hand going into the bare wrists, although imagine... Oh, you know what? I think I added the black gloves to this blade, too. I think those black gloves might have come from someone else, too. I think... now that I think about it, the stock version of this character, I think, just had the bare forearms and bare hands. But I thought that this one would look cooler if I added the black gloves. I'm not even sure who I got those from, now that I think about it. But, they look good, right? Totally forgot that I did that. But, when you're kit bashing hundreds of figures over the course of a year, that happens. Well, we'll add this blade, too, to the lineup here. Maybe he's an alternate universe blade. He's carrying a katana, by the way, or sword from, I don't think that's called a katana. I forget what it's called with the long handle. But from one of the Blue Ninjas from G.I. Joe Classified series. Those ninja figures from G.I. Joe Classified, the Red Ninjas and the Blue Ninjas, man, they come with a lot of great accessories, especially martial arts and swords and sai and all kinds of cool stuff. So, Dracula, Vladimir Tepes. He does not drink wine, as you may be aware. So in the 70s, Marvel had a wonderful, I think about 75 issue run of a comic book called Tomb of Dracula that was mostly written by Marv Wolfman and mostly penciled by Gene Colan, one of the greatest Marvel Comics pencilers ever to live, and inked by Tom Palmer, one of the greatest superhero comics inkers ever to ink. So it was very well written, very well drawn. It was a 75-issue saga that was essentially one long story of Dracula, coming to the States in the 1970s, and I think there were stories that took place in the UK. It was set in modern times. That's where Blade came from. Blade was a supporting character that Marv Wolfman and Marv Wolfman alone created for this comic, Tomb of Dracula. And then, time goes on as it does, and the sort of Hammer movie aesthetic of that book of Tomb of Dracula, where he was running around in an opera cape, and all the fog and the swirling shadows, they kind of went out of fashion. And at some point, Dracula returned in the pages of X-Men, and he was wearing this getup, which to me looks all the world for like something you would see Hellboy fighting in one of Mike Mignola's Supernatural Hellboy comics. I think it was Anthony's Customs. They pointed out how much nicer this figure would look if it had a black wash on the armor, which is definitely true, especially to the naked eye. It looks very plasticky and very cheap, unfortunately. I do have two of him as well. There's one on my X-Men display, and then there's this one right here. I have been tempted to paint this sword, give the blade a little silver, and a black wash on the red parts of his costume. I may do that someday. I've had mixed results with black wash on figures. I put a black wash on the Cyborg arms. As you know, I'm a big fan of Cyborg arms. And I put a black wash on my Cyborg Spider-Man. Excuse me. And, excuse me. Testing. 1, 2, 3. I did put a black wash on my Cyborg Spider-Man that looked really good. It came out well. I basically took an India ink brush pen and covered it in black, let it sit for about 15 seconds, and then wiped it all off with a paper towel. And what happens is that the ink sinks into the recesses in the striations on the robot arm, the sculpting, and you're left with, shadows and highlights, and it just makes it look amazing. I should probably do a video on that, and I probably will now that I'm thinking about it, maybe sometime soon. But don't be afraid, especially if you've got an extra to work with. If you've got a figure that has a lot of nooks and crannies and a lot of texture, and you think maybe it looks a little cheap, and maybe you could zhuzh it up with a little black wash, don't be afraid to give it a try, because worst comes to worst, you can always use acetone to get it off, as long as you don't use acetone, 100% acetone, which is basically nail polish remover. You know, a little on a paper towel goes a long way. Never use it on paint. You don't ever want to use it on a painted piece of an action figure. But if you're using it on raw plastic, generally speaking, if you act quickly and use small amounts, you can remove paint and stains from your figures with acetone. So this is the Dracula that appeared in X-Men, and in an alternate, well, in this, I think in the Marvel Universe, he was trying to turn, you know, the 616, he was trying to turn Storm into a vampire. And in the alternate world of the Mutant X comic, which was drawn by the magnificent 1990s and early 2000s comic book artist Tom Rainey, who drew Stormwatch for Image, one of my favorite comics of all time. But he, when he came to Marvel, he drew a book called Mutant X, which was about Havoc, Cyclops' brother, going to live in an alternate universe. And it was an alternate universe with much more supernatural activity and a very dire living situation for the people living on Earth. And this is my Bloodstorm, who is that alternate Mutant X universe version of Storm. She is sadly the only Storm in my collection at the moment. There have been a couple of classic sort of 1980s Byrne and Austin Storms that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years. One was in a terrible 2-pack with Thunderbird. It was a nice Storm, but Thunderbird was terrible, and it was like $50, $60. And I think there was another recent one, an X-Men 97 one, with the brown suit Wolverine from the animated series. You know, either one of those, if I could find them at some point, I would settle for that. I would like to have a classic Storm. I would like to have, you know, the classic lineup from Giant Size X-Men #1. I'd like to have them all. I have most of them now, but I do not have them all. I got Banshee, I got Colossus, I got First Appearance Wolverine. Who else was on that cover? Nightcrawler. But I need a Storm. I need a Marvel Girl. I need... was Marvel Girl on that cover? Now that I say that, I'm not sure. But anyway, how good does Bloodstorm look just standing here? How damn good does she look? She is one fine vampire. And that, look at that lightning effect. It's just staying perfectly in place. Wonderful. Very impressive. This is how I ever posed in my primary X-Men shelf. Even though Bloodstorm isn't a primary member of the X-Men, she's the only Storm I have. So she's kind of filling in for Storm until I get one. Get a little light on the subject here. This is Dormammu, one of the many lords of the underworld in Marvel Comics, and one of Doctor Strange's arch nemeses. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Remember that from the Doctor Strange movie? Well, this is that guy. This is the Steve Ditko design of that guy. This is one of Marvel Legends' most successful translations of Steve Ditko's artwork into a 3D 6-inch plastic person. It is absolutely marvelous. It's got the lines on the face. It's got that sort of drama comedy mask visage. It's got the black, like, antler things on his face. That's a separate piece that for some reason comes off, but it tabs in at his chin. But if you want to take it off, you can. He's got translucent hair. He's got the swirly, twirly fire effect there on his hand. He probably had another one that fell off on this hand. I don't know. Basically, now this Dormammu came out in the Bring On the Bad Guys Zemnu Build-A-Figure wave that was all bad guys, and in the same wave was the Red Skull. And what was funny about that is that Red Skull had exactly the same body mold. This one adds the little spiky things on his boots and the weird sort of collar piece on his breastbone, clavicle, chest, whatever, upper chest, upper torso, that red piece. And you could get that off if you heated the figure up and popped the arms out. You could get that off if you wanted, and then you'd have a body of, you know, a purple jumpsuit guy, and you could swap the heads or whatever. That's possible. I think the West Coast Avengers, Dr. Hank Pym, I think, reuses some of this jumpsuit body as well, if I recall correctly. Tracksuit Mafia, the MCU Tracksuit Mafia does not use this body. It's a smaller body, and the jumpsuit is very different. But, yeah, Dormammu is kind of one of the arch nemeses of Doctor Strange. And this is a really, really good representation of how Dormammu looked in the early Stan Lee and Steve Ditko Doctor Strange comics. I wish the Doctor Strange figure that we got, that Walmart exclusive sort of semi-deluxe Doctor Strange that came with all the accessories and was a great, great figure, I wish that looked more like Ditko's art to kind of match this figure. I mean, they go together and they complement each other, but it doesn't look like Ditko drew Doctor Strange. I mean, some of the elements of the costume, like the dots on his gloves and so forth. But this Dormammu looks like he just stepped out of the pages of, Strange Tales number 179, or, whatever issues he appeared in back when sturdy Steve Ditko was still holding court at the House of Ideas. True believer. All right, and then finally, for our semi-demonic, definitely supernatural lineup, here is Jericho Drumm, the 1970s character Brother Voodoo. Here wearing Doctor Strange's cape, because this represents a moment in time when Brother Voodoo was Dr. Voodoo, and he was the master of the mystic arts. Doctor Strange was perhaps on sabbatical or taking a long vacation, or maybe doing 6 months in jail for, some minor crime. Who knows? This is the third Brother Voodoo Jericho Drumm figure that we've gotten in the last 12 or 13 years. The first one was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive on the Bucky Cap mold. The second one was a mainline release of that same figure on the Bucky Cap mold with a different paint scheme. And then this one is on the Vulcan body mold, so it's a little sturdier, a little taller, has a brand new head sculpt. I think the previous two Brother Voodoos had the same head sculpt, the San Diego one and the mainline one. And I think he came in the Strange Tales wave as well with these five, if I recall correctly. And maybe Storm, too. God, is this just the Strange Tales wave? I think it might be. Minus Blackheart, maybe one other character. I'm not sure. All of the Brother Voodoos have come with this really weird, and I'm not sure, is it even going the right way? This really weird staff that he has, that as you can see is painted at the bottom as wood, and then it becomes mystical and purple. And can you see the faces at the end of the sort of flowers on this thing? They're a little terrifying. I'm not going to lie. They're a little terrifying. And Brother Voodoo, like Lilith, is one that I think I had the other Brother Voodoo, the mainline one, when I got this. I probably traded that one away because I don't have it anymore. But this is one where I don't regret that, because I think this one is better than that previous one. And Brother Voodoo isn't like, a character like Captain America that I feel the need to have, all of them in multiple form. But yeah, I do love this Brother Voodoo. I think that he looks badass. He looks like he's come to cast some spells and cast out some demons and set things right. And Jericho Drumm here, Dr. Voodoo, in this look with Doctor Strange's cape, or at least with the Eye of Agamotto. Maybe it's not the cape, but it's definitely the Eye of Agamotto that he's wearing there, clasping the cape closed. And these then are the supernatural people in my neighborhood. It's what I got. And apparently it's mostly the Strange Tales wave, the Blackheart Build-A-Figure wave. I hadn't really realized it as I was plucking them off the shelves. And, since Lilith is the mother of all demons and I plucked her off the shelf, I guess I'm a mother plucker, you might say. Yeah. Dad jokes, they're free. You don't have to thank me. Anyway, that has been my look at most of the supernatural characters in my collection. Sorry, I forgot about Doctor Strange and Master Mordo, and who was the other one? Blackheart. Yes, Blackheart. Who is Dormammu's son, isn't he? Or is he Mephisto's son? I don't have Mephisto. I know there's one of those made-to-order Mephistos coming out with a throne and stuff, and he looks pretty good, but in another world, in another life, I probably would have ordered that, but I didn't, and I will not have a Mephisto and Miso-Fisto. So there's that. If you like this video, this action figure obsession video, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, if you hate Satan and the son of Satan and Satan's spawn and all these demons and monsters and weirdo creeps, if you hated this video, give it a thumbs down. I encourage you, please, thumb me down. Go ahead. I double dog Dare ya. If you have any questions or observations you'd like to share, some analysis of the toy industry or my own psychopathology, feel free to leave it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so that you find out the next time I do something like this, which could be, soonish. You never know. You never know. Ring that notification bell so you find out when I upload any more action figure obsession videos. I did some more songs. I wrote a song yesterday called Astronaut. Check that out in the 2026 Avian and Loaded song compilation playlist in my playlist section, if you're so inclined. It's not really about being a guy who works in outer space. But yeah, after almost a week of not writing anything because my foot hurt so bad, felt well enough last night to, as Dr. Witty Banter put it, get back into the studio and get back to work making some music. And I did, I think, 3 or 4 songs last night. So those are all in that 2026 compilation folder, or just in the videos tab. They're among the most recent videos. If you care, if you don't care, that's fine. I make my music for me, and if other people like it, that's wonderful. And, sometimes they do, but, for the most part, it's just for me to a songwriting exercise and to hear songs that remind me of the music that I love. And there we have it. Okay, that went all kinds of weird places. Sorry about that. And I'm not going to edit it out because every time I try to edit a video in the YouTube editor, it ends up getting destroyed and I got to delete it completely. And we don't want that happening again. It's already happened twice in the last few weeks. And one of them was really good too, but boy, I am not good with that YouTube editor. I admit it. No editing here. Very low production quality. Lots of rambling. This is what you count on. This is what you come here for, right? So this is all my spooky guys. For all my spooky guys and girls, thank you for joining us here on this edition of Action Figure Obsession. I appreciate you spending 27 minutes of your day with me today, assuming that you haven't already bailed, and I will see you again on the next Action Figure Obsession.